Alright, let's go. I decided against going... I decided against going to take a nap or anything, so let's go do the raid. No, wait. Wrong one. That's here. I have to go to the Raptors. That's where to start. An unwelcome visitor. God, that eye. Looks like somebody made that in MS Paint. No offense. Ronald. I made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to the crystal's whisper, and I must say... Professor Callum, where are your matters? While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I want to remind you that even the most academically inclined prefer a composed recounting of events. Ah, yes, of course. My apologies, Ronald. Being consumed by my research for so long, I'm afraid I've quite forgotten how to engage in civil conversation. Only been 4 months. Okay, so perhaps we should start from the beginning. With a crystal set adrift upon the usual tides, containing the memories of a party yet unknown, they cried out for deliverance. Pandemonium, where the ancients kept volatile creations under locking key. You yourself witnessed the power devouring the facility from within, and the advert of a divine monstrosity wrought of mystic beasts and powerful mage. Fortunately, your martial prowess and the combined magical talents of your companions, Themis and Eric, was sufficient to restore order to the circle of Aspirados. But the greater threat remains. In the depths of pandemonium, a presence yet stirs. Its intentions and identity shrouded in mystery. That is the issue at hand, is it not? Since you returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of the crystal. In the process, I detected an anomalous etheric signature which I believe arose from the memory stored within. Analysis of the pattern suggested a feeling of loss or yearning, specifically the yearning to be made whole. And indeed, abundant readings have revealed a faint but identical signature. This can only mean that another such crystal exists in our time. So, my friend, I must depart to search for it forthwith. By tracing the matching etheric signature to its source, I believe it will be a simple matter to find our crystal's twin. Professor, how does expedition... Will this expedition be carried out only by us, or will Ronald grace us with his protection? I'm afraid he has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear Rosalind, namely to seek out the secrets which lie nestled within Pandemonium, where this all began. From all that we have heard, it appears that time travel. That's a weird word. Time travel from the Crystal Tower is no fluid. That is to say, one can but travel in predetermined intervals. It would be prudent to check in on occasion, in case there are any unanticipated changes. As for you, my loyal assistant, I would ask you to remain here and continue cataloging the ancient creations. You can't. Do you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Why, yes, that would be most efficient use of resources. Would it not? In fact, I have already commissioned the ship and pilot for that very purpose. I trust you to take good care of the laboratory in my absence. I do not like the idea of him doing this. I feel like that crystal might be tempting him. I apologize for that somewhat abrupt departure when progress is in sight. Professor Caldron tends to become blind to all else. Indeed, and he has been worse than usual. Well, I cannot fault him for his excellent excitement, but I do wish he would spare a thought for those around him. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard. Much as it spoke only to you last time, none but the professor has been able to capture its ethereal yearning, which is served only to convince him that he can solve this puzzle on his own. Surely after some time alone, he'll come to remember how valuable we are. The search for this crystal seemed to be a simple enough matter. Let him have his adventure, and upon his return, I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. As for you, Ronald, you may be best to return to Pandemonium, as Professor Caldrion suggested. Speaking of which, I did have a request of my own to make. Traveling to Pandemonium requires you to pass through Alphys, correct? There's something I would have you investigate in my stead. While those creations confined within Pandemonium are considered to be failures, I doubt that's their whole story. Barring exceptional cases, they must have been under observation in Alphys before being consigned to their shackles. And if we know anything about the agents, it's that they would have kept thorough records of the results. Brilliant. Delving into those records may shed light on creatures Ronald has yet to encounter. If your theory proves correct, that is. While there are no guarantees, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing forward blindly with only his strength to carry the day. For your own sake as well as ours, please unearth what information you can. Whoa! Everybody just showed up at once. You seek records of Pandemonium's creations. Master Therium has just finished pursuing the very same. I should not be surprised that we both arrived at the same conclusion. Luckily, I have saved you the trouble and gleaned what information I could. As you know... so you know each other? I was dreading having to once again scour the archives. Perhaps instead I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, I shall take my leave. I didn't even notice him there. As should we, for I have undone the warning sigil blocking the entrance to Abyssios. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while awaiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandemonium's protective wars continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there's been no fluctuation so great as to make me doubt their rich capacity to keep watch over Alcidados while I'm away. He works diligently to master internet, that he might deliver the creations back to their cages by his own hand. I thought it best to give him time to hone his craft. And since fate has brought us here, I would ask you to accompany me while I attend to another matter, more idle suspicions that I would like to chase down. Rest assured, it shall not take long. I simply have a few questions I had an acquaintance of mine. Come, he has agreed to meet us near the nearest to Pandemonium. An acquaintance. Ow. What the? Ah. Prepare the gates of Pandemonium. As I have pondered our expedition into Pandemonium, could I help but be mystified by how strongly the waters we encountered felt for La Habrea, whether it be for good or ill. Hesperus and Etrich were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion, while the latter looks to his father with bold hatred. I would not expect a familiar such as you to understand this, but such extreme emotions towards a single individual are quite rare indeed. Naturally, I feel gratitude towards my mother and father. Yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. This view is not unique to myself. It is more or less accepted as a way of things. By contrast, the researchers of Pandemonium seem to view La Brea with a feeling approaching obsession. Whether driven by love or hate, they have all been drawn to him. There were many other aspects of the facility particulars I found troubling besides. I decided the best course of action would be to go straight to the source and pose my questions to a member of the words of La Habrea. My apologies to have kept you waiting, Master Themis. I understand you are conducting an investigation of Pandemonium and wish to know of its origins? Indeed, in particular, I wish to know why exactly Pandemonium was built directly under Elvis. The facility is overseen by the words of La Habrea. Raw. Why keep it so close to Elvis, whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? At first, I thought to simply be a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by the researchers of Elvis could easily usher into their new home. Imagine my surprise when a trip to the archives revealed that many of the creations were set from organizations beyond Elvis, including from the words of La Habrea themselves. Giving this albeit limited information, I cannot but feel that the academia I know would have been a more fitting locale. What does Elpis have that cannot be found there? These are fitting questions and one we have asked ourselves many times in recent years. Alas, the nature of Pandemonium's construction does not lend itself to relocation. When first it was built, circumstances weren't as they are now. As you surmise, the majority of creatures kept in Pandemonium were sent from Elpis. Yet, as the years passed, interests changed. Failures in creations deemed too flawed even to submit to Elpis paradoxically drew the attention of Pandemonium's researchers. That is quite the change, and in fact, it almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decides which creatures will be the subject of research? Master La Habrea. Such authority is reserved for the chief keyboard, and he has taken it upon himself to step into that role. So at Pandemonium, resources were being misused under La Habrea's authority, correct? Oh, you're stepping a boundary. Don't step on that line. I don't know what you're suggesting, but the keyboard also holds some sway within the facility. Not even La Habrea would be free from their scrutiny. They are duty bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible. Although I admit, as of late, their communication has been somewhat sporadic. We but recently received a report from one of the keyboards stating that all is well within Pandemonium's halls. Newsflash! Really? And you're certain that a keyword sent it? Yes, of course. Some communications suffered a temporary obstruction. But I can assure you that the words did their due diligence in confirming the identity of the same. Thank you. This information would be helpful to my investigation. That would be all for my prying. Then I should take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation freely, I must remind you that the warders' work are delicate, and it would be remiss to disturb them for longer than is necessary. So, all is well, a blatant lie, and to that we can both attest. One of the remaining keywords is we're certainly in league with the party behind us. Let us hurry. I know not why our adversary sent that report, but it's his plain that we must return to Pandemonium with haste. So in other words, so this is deeper than we thought. It isn't just experiments running amok, but an organization or a third party that is actually trying to take over. I cannot guess as to why this false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill. As does the knowledge of our mysterious mastermind has at least one more keyboard to puppet. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, and we would be remiss to leave Eric at the mercy of their machinations. Let us hope no harm has befallen him. I've traced these sigils countless times, yet still I lack the strength to maintain the spell. And now time works against me. I can no longer be victim to my own aptitude. What? Who goes there? What the? This is something to be admired in such single-minded effort, even if your methods leave much to be desired. You're, you allowed this familiar to catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high as to forget you walk upon the earth? I know this creature. A familiar of the Phoenix. But that monster is locked away. That it is, in spite of the trouble I went to in freeing it. I might add, grudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must, but with control of Asphodato's rest for my grasp, this is simply the best I can offer. Hide if you will, but mark my words. I will find you and make you pay for the chaos you've sown. Now, there's no need for hostility. A calm heart stays the course. The wisdom of Lalafell, your father. And how would you know what wisdom he speaks? Unless I have heard those words many times, the scolding of a tutor whose students struggle to grasp the most rudimentary lessons, seething with disgust. No. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperiados. That can only mean one thing. That still you insist on mocking me? Stop this farce, Lalafell. At last you move to keep up. Pity that you remain behind nevertheless. As ever you are, always you fail to learn, fail to understand, to act. And those fate deemed to offer an escape, you remained here. You are brave of magical prowess and common sense both. But you need not dissail, though you may be. You are yet indisposable to Pandemonium's great experiment. There's the affection I remember. Did you ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall. Take pride in that and rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. What wish? And all shall be revealed. All this rage, this hatred is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires align more than you know. What are you? Uninvited guests join our reunion. It seems fortune no longer favors you. Do you think I have any interest in listening to your prattle, let alone bowing to your will? I am no longer a child. Faith lies with those who have earned it. So these are the heroes who bought Herberos de low, even as power divine flowed through his veins. 'Tis plain there are worthier subjects to contend with. Thank you. If you're not shown up even a moment later, I shudder to think what would have become of me. There's something I must tell you. I know who's behind this. There is but one person who can hold thrall over familiar creation and keyboard alike. Mask of the Father. And so there can be no but one conclusion. Laha Brea was the driving force behind this chaos from the start. There is logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider experimentation of such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast, with the rest of us none the wiser. Considering the magnitude of his work with the convocation, and the words, his relatively minor role as chief keyboard comes under little scrutiny, even as it provides him the authority to wield dangerous magics. It may serve as veil and mantle both. Still, I find the notation hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the Laha Brea. I know. You have met him, yes? Do you think he is capable of this? It's, you really want me to answer that? Brea is capable of far more than you know. Is he? So you believe Laha had to be a man of few scruples, if it brings his goals closer in reach? That alone should be enough. Let me assure you, Laha Brea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. While he may not be one to let emotions stand in the way of his mission, I cannot believe there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Although we met but briefly, the impression he left on me stands in stark contrast to your evaluation. Though his methods are ever unorthodox, they seem guided by a firm understanding of what is just. There's one way to find out for certain. We delve deeper into pandemonium and pull back the curtain on this mystery ourselves. A wise choice. I would not deny the truth if I saw it with my own eyes, even if it was discomfiting to behold. And we must move forward with no excessive caution. Laha Brea, or whoever is behind this, has likely spread their tentacles to every corner of pandemonium. We can safely assume the other key wards won't greet us with open arms. Agreed. Let us make our way through Abyssios, one careful step at a time. I shall stay by Eric's side, in case our enemies think to target him again. Could I trouble you to take the vanguard? Thank you. As a precaution, I shall safeguard you with a simple spell. This will ensure that even should we become separated, my phantom warriors will still come to your aid. If it does come to battle, the keyword's magic will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have you to even the scale somewhat. I trust you shall be liable with your weight. Abyssia, the fifth circle. Yay. Alright,